So in today's session, we'll discuss Ansible. So what is the meaning of Ansible is? Ansible is an open source like configuration tool, or it's an IT automation tool. So mostly in the DevOps we are using for configuration management, but Ansible can do IT automation, provisioning of the infrastructure, orchestration of the like infrastructure, application deployments also it can do. Okay, and even patching, updates, hardening of the servers. Ansible can do lot of things. Okay, and one of the advantage of the Ansible is, so Ansible is agentless. So what is the meaning of agentless is, if you have the 1,000 missions, if you want to do automation on the 1,000 missions, it's mandatory. We required an agent is required. So we required an agent is required on those 1,000 missions. But if I go for the Ansible, the main advantage is we no need of any of the agent. So we no need of any of the agent. So without requiring the agent, like we can do the automation. This given lot of edge to the Ansible. Okay, so any of the other configuration tools or IT automation tools, what it required is, so they need to deploy an agent need to be done. That means if you have 1,000 missions, the first step should be in those 1,000 missions, I need to deploy an agent. A small software is required that is going to manage those devices. But if I go for an Ansible kind of device, Ansible is an agentless. Okay, if it is a Windows mission, it is using the communication over the SSH, and if it is Windows, it is going to communicate over WinRM. Okay, so through the it's a remote connection kind of thing. If it is like a Linux, it's going to communicate over the SSH, and like if it is Windows using the WinRM, it's going to communicate. Even in the Terraform also, when we are using the provisioners, like we used to do the automation like by using SSH or WinRM itself. Okay, so now Terraform also can do little bit of configuration management. Ansible can do little bit of IaC also, but like the leaders are Ansible is leader in configuration management, Terraform is leader in IaC. In the DevOps process, can you guess whether IaC comes into the first, or configuration management comes into the picture?
Terraform
Yeah, first IaC need to be done. After that, configuration
configuration.
management will come. If you want to skip the configuration management, then in the Terraform itself, we can do the provisioners. Okay, but 1 to 2% of the market, people are using Ansible also for their configuration management, plus IaC also Ansible are using, but market is very less for that. Okay, so market is very less for that. Okay, so that's the reason we can intelligently using Terraform for IaC and Ansible for the configuration management. So in the configuration management, we can tell installing the packages like Apache, Nginx, MySQL, RabbitMQ. Okay, so those kind of packages we are installing. Then we are managing the users, groups, and permissions, and we are going to deploy the applications. Then we are going to automating cloud provisioning kind of thing using AWS, Azure, GCP. So here we are using Terraform for this, but Ansible also can manage and orchestrating multi-tier environments also, like dev, QA, staging, and with the different applications like app servers, web servers. So those all we can manage. Okay, so then what is the meaning of configuration management, or IT automation is? Like automating the setup, maintenance, consistency of the systems. Say we have a Linux admin or Windows admin, what are the things he can do manually on one server or 10 servers he can control. But if you have the hundreds of servers or thousands of servers, because from 2008, 2009, the scalability has been increasing. At that moment, configuration management concept came into the picture. Prior to that, people used to do Python, Perl, or Bash scripts, or PowerShell automation for this, but that's a lot of complexity is there. We need to write lot of code, but Ansible is a very simple kind of thing. Okay, so instead of doing all these manually, okay, so we can install the softwares, editing any of the configuration files, or we can do the IT automation, patching, updates, rollbacks, all this we can use Ansible, Puppet, Chef, Salt Stack. These all the tools we have. And intelligently in the DevOps, what we are using is in the DevOps we are using like for the continuous deployment, like maybe I want to deploy the softwares, I want to copy the war files, I want to configure the settings, I want to restart the services, these kind of automation we are going to do using configuration management. The main advantage is always automation and consistency, scalability, version control, auditing, compliance. So we have all these where any automation mostly will give these kind of advantages itself. Okay, so most of the uh, like uh, automation is going to give these kind of advantages. So then Ansible is a widely used configuration management tool. Okay, because always packages are installed that will maintain the state of the infrastructure. Okay, and it's a declarative. Okay, we can describe and whether that with the code itself we are going to control even the configuration also, continuous deployment also, patching, compliance, hardening of the servers. What is the hardening also we'll discuss. So now here Ansible is an automation tool or maybe configuration management tool, which is an agentless, YAML based. So these two like mainly agentless. And with the YAML, what is the advantages? It's very simple to maintain. It's very simple to maintainer. So that is the advantage of using the Ansible. And if you use the configuration management, like here, keeping the IT systems with the desired state, I want to be all services should be running, all packages should be configured, ports should be configured, firewall should be configured. That state I can maintain through the like a declarative updates in the YAML itself. I'm going to maintain all those. Okay, so then here Ansible is why Ansible is the leader also we'll discuss compared to other tools. And IaC we are going to provision and managing the infrastructure, mostly infrastructure setup, configurations, those all it will take care. Once the infrastructure has been provisioned, then the configuration management comes into the picture. So here we have Terraform, AWS CloudFormation, ARM templates, Pulumi, Azure Biceps. So these kind of tools we have. Ansible also little bit can do, but not like how Terraform will perform. Okay, so then what is the configuration management is like maybe we after infrastructure has been provisioned, network storage infrastructure has been provisioned, like it's going to be setting up the packages, downloading the packages or WAR files, installing the packages, updates, OS patches, OS level user creation, firewall permissions, configuration files, all those can be maintained. Okay, and multiple environments it can do the configuration management. And we have the tools like Ansible, Puppet, Chef, and Salt Stack. These are all the different tools we have. And in the Ansible, like we are going to use a simple YAML. Most of the things what you want to automate, we want to specify in the YAML script. And once you're able to write that YAML script, it can perform on 100 missions or 200 missions each and every time whenever you want to perform dev QA. So this kind of reusability we are going to get by using the playbooks. Okay, so mostly like in the IaC, we are creating and managing the infrastructure, network, storage, and we can automate the cloud services. But after deployment, we can manage the softwares, OS configurations, services, all that we can automate. Okay, so once we deploy the infrastructure, initial step we are doing, after that till end of that deployment, maybe production servers may need to run 2 to 3 years also. That maintenance of the system state is taken care by configuration management kind of tools. Okay, and even idempotency means even if you execute multiple times also, it need to enforce the desired state without again shouldn't do the same operations. So even to maintain that idempotency, like we are going to maintain the state file, and from the state file we can automate it. So we have the tools like Terraform, CloudFormation, Pulumi. These are the tools we have. And if you go for this here, we have Ansible, Puppet, Chef, Salt Stack we have. Okay, so mostly the output of the IaC is we are getting the infrastructure resources either cloud wise or virtually we are getting. But after infrastructure, it's going to configure the servers and app distribution, patching, all this done by configuration management. In the modern DevOps tools, with the CI/CD pipeline itself, in the CD steps, we are integrating IaC with the cloud formation, sorry, with the configuration management kind of solutions, both we are combining. Okay, so that is the modern way of using the DevOps. Even if you are using containers on top of that Kubernetes also, we are managing the configuration management, we are managing. Okay, so now here Terraform provisions three EC2 instances and load balancer, but Ansible can deploy on those three instances. Nginx deploys the app code. So maybe if you have any configuration settings to communicate with the RDS, these all we can do by Ansible. Okay, so setting up the firewall rules at the security group level we are not doing. At the OS level using IP tables or firewall D service, that can be done by Ansible. Okay. So then here in the short form, like IaC build the infrastructure, configuration management will manage the infrastructure maintenance and the server system maintenance. Desired state can be maintained by the configuration management. So coming to the use cases, Ansible can be used for the vast set of use cases in the IT automation, and IT operations teams can use, security teams can use, DevOps teams can use, software distribution tools can use. Mostly in the Linux, like Ansible is very powerful tool, but on the Windows servers, Microsoft itself provides one tool called as SCCM. Okay, so we can use even the SCCM also we can use. Then coming to IT operations wise, even we can do the server provisioning also. But in our use case, we are using for the server provisioning, we are using like a Terraform we are using. Then application deployment, I want to set up Java and 100 servers, Python, Node.js, okay, or maybe I want to set up the app to repose. Okay, so then I want to install the packages, I want to download the packages. These all we can do. Then I want to set up my config files, Nginx configuration, certificates I want to set up, restart the services, firewalls, all these we can do by using like application deployment services also. After everything is done, I want to restart my services to reload the services. Okay, so then these kind of service management, user management, like I want to create the users for Tomcat or maybe for my WebSphere, WebLogic groups I want to create, adding those users, certificates, all this we can manage through user and access management. Then networking automation also we can manage. So we can configure the routers, switches. That means like Cisco kind of companies also using for the network automation level also. Lot of companies are using Ansible, but we are using VPC kind of concepts. Those most of them we are automating through. We are
अपना
automating
अलग
them
खेल है
through the Terraform itself. We are going to automate it. Okay, and in the DevOps wise also, like we can integrate with the Jenkins kind of pipeline, then we can run those playbooks automatically, and it can use for the continuous deployments also. And we are going to integrate even with the IaC kind of tools also. Then container orchestration, like even with the Kubernetes also we can use. And I want to set up a three-tier or entire kind of applications in the multiple environments also we can maintain. And even we can integrate with the secrets, or we can rotate the secrets. So that kind of secret management also can be done. And it's not only for software distribution, We can use even for the OS patching also, or application patches, and automating the patches also we can perform. Okay, and if any rolling updates or patch reporting, all those also inventory collection. That inventory means the 1,000 missions monitoring details also it can collect. Then even the compliance is also enforcing whether that companies are following these global standards or not. Okay, so mostly financial based companies will use HIPAA and GDPR kind of things. For the UK, Europe based companies, ISO international organizations will have those ISO standards, niched. These kind of global standards, whether we have following on our servers or not, we can have the scripts, and that scripts will verify, and if those not matching will perform that compliances also. And we can use the policy as the code. Then auditing and drift detection also we can perform, and firewall and security hardening also we can do, and log and monitoring setup also we can perform. So these all the automation also we can do. Okay, so coming to Ansible architecture, like it's a very simple architecture. We need to maintain like a Ansible like a control node, or that's called as Ansible master. So if we have the 1,000 missions to automate, only on one server we can install Ansible, and that mission is called as Ansible master. Okay, or we can call that as the Ansible control node. So on the one mission, we need to install the Ansible, and that's called as Ansible control node. We are calling the mission where Ansible is installed, and it's going to perform the execution like that automation scripts in the YAML. We are going to write that steps. We are like all those group of steps. We are going to call as the pipelines. Sorry, playbooks. Okay, so then we can use from the like maybe from your laptop we can maintain Ansible, or we can keep one server for the Ansible like to control 1,000 missions. That means one server as a jump server in the AWS. If you have 1,000 missions, one AWS server we are taking that acts as the Ansible master. And nodes, this may be a physical mission, Windows mission, Linux mission, whatever it may be. Okay, it supports. As the managed nodes. That's maybe AWS VM, Azure VM, GCP VM, or on the VMware we have that VM or physical servers. Anything is supported. Okay, and inventory is that which of the missions we want to control, that missions we need to collect as the inventory. And we have two types of inventories. One is static inventory, second one is dynamic inventory. And we can keep that inventory in the form of by default in the INA format, or we can keep like in the YAML format also we can keep. But mostly the inventory we are keeping in the INI format, inventory kind of format we are going to keep. So this is the sample inventory file we have. In our example, we are going to keep web servers. Say two web servers we are maintaining. If you have 100 servers also, all that we can keep, and DB servers also, like that is one group. Say inventory we'll discuss. Then here we have DB servers and web servers. Those are the group names. Then we are going to maintain like desired state by using the playbooks. So we need to write down the playbooks, and all the playbooks also we are keeping in the Ansible controller. But in the real time in our scenario, we are keeping all these in the GitHub itself. In the source code itself, we are going to manage integrating with the Jenkins. Okay, and Ansible, what is the Ansible is a module driven kind of thing. What is the meaning of module driven is, say we are going to keep lot of modules, and whenever we want to use those modules, don't get confused with the Terraform modules. These Ansible modules have been developed by Ansible itself by using the Python kind of code. So by using the Python, we are going to develop those Ansible modules. Okay, and for each module, Ansible may use 100 lines to 300 lines of Python code. Some complex modules may be written by some thousands of lines of Python also. But we no need to use the Python code. These modules, even in the Terraform also, we have the providers. Those providers have been developed by
Terraform and Go language.
Go language. We are here. This Ansible is providing rich modules for us. Okay, so that is also one of the reason Ansible is successful compared to other tools. So what is the automation wise module driven automation is we have the rich set of modules are available, and those modules we can reuse whenever we want. Okay, and additional functionality we can have the plugins also, and we can develop our own custom modules also, but don't accept that you have written your own custom modules. Only just we are going to use those reusable modules itself. There are some hundreds of modules. Okay, so very powerful modules are available in Ansible, and we are going to use very simple YAML kind of code to reuse those modules. And another advantage of the modules are you no need to deploy those modules. Ansible controller will deploy those modules. Once those modules have been executed, then it's going to perform the automation, and it will clean up all those things also. It's going to clean up all these things also. It's going to clean up. Okay, so then here it's going to perform the Ansible functionality through plugins. And like in the Terraform, we have the Terraform registry. That kind of repository here in the Ansible is Ansible Galaxy. So Galaxy will have the very rich roles. Say just like in the Terraform, what is the modules we have? We can write the roles we can write. Okay, say Ansible modules are equivalent to maybe providers kind of thing. Okay, say here in the Ansible Galaxy, we have rich roles are available, and even we have the collections, plugins, all those we have. And from that Ansible Galaxy, we can install those whatever we want. And that folder structure, like we are going to maintain the playbooks instead of using the playbooks, we are going to maintain that folder structure. That modular folder structures are called as roles here. In the Terraform, we are calling them as modules. Okay, so don't get confused with both of them. Okay, then here we have the handlers also. What is the handlers? We'll discuss after like a playbook. Then here, if we have the 1,000 missions we want to automate, in those 1,000 missions also, we are not going to install Ansible, and Ansible agent also is not required. So what we need to set up is, what we need to set up. So we need to install only on one mission, and there are some prerequisites, those also we'll discuss. Then Ansible uses the playbook on the control node, like then Ansible reads the inventory file. Then like on the control mission is going to communicate using SSH or WinRM, and whatever the modules we have used in our playbook, Ansible will send those modules to that remote missions, and it will perform the automation. Then the module execute the task on all the inventory missions. Then like whatever the reports it is collecting, all the reports would be sent to the controller node, and once the execution is done for those modules, like those would be removed on that remote mission. Okay, then like only like what is that idempotency we'll discuss, only makes changes if required. If already that is there, it's not going to perform that any of the change. Okay, so using the SSH or WinRM, that is the prerequisite we need to configure on that 1,000 missions. We need to set up that SSH, okay, or WinRM kind of thing. Then the control node, we have Ansible has been installed. Here we may have lot of missions. Then that inventory need to be there in that missions. If it is Linux, SSH connection is required, and SSH configurations we required. If it is Windows, WinRM is going to communicate. Okay, then
So
yeah.
wherever the Ansible is available, the that Ansible key should be installed on the client servers, right?
Yes, yes. That we need to generate a key on the Ansible controller. That key need to be copied in the 1,000 missions if we have.
Okay.
Okay, so that is only the prerequisite we have. That also at the AWS level we can use, at the AMI level we can manage that. Okay, so Ansible advantages over the other configuration management tools, we can mainly tell three advantages. One is agentless. Ansible is the agentless. That means no agent is required. Uses SSH for Linux, WinRM for the Windows. Okay. Whereas other tools like Puppet, Chef, SaltStack, all these required agents. Then try to understand how the modules are, like any of those modules have been driven with the Ansible, is it pull base or push base?
I
Controller
think
will pull or push.
push, I think.
So it's pushing to the remote missions. Whereas if you have a agent whenever it's required, it will pull those. But here we don't have any
Agent.
agent itself. That is the reason Ansible is push
Agentless.
based. Yeah, it's agentless and it's push based. And like maybe Chef and Puppet, these will have their own domain specific languages. So Chef mostly uses the Ruby kind of thing. Puppet also they have their own domain specific language. But one of the advantage to the Ansible is a YAML, which is very simple, human readable. Okay, so idempotency also automatically it ensures the automatically it won't install the package if it is installed. If the service is already running, it won't start that. Okay, so but whereas for the other tools, we need to maintain that through the complex setup. And who is having very rich modules? Ansible having very rich modules are available. Okay, so then we need like Puppet Chef required, master agent setup, certificates, all those are required. Okay, so then like very simple configuration, orchestration can be done. Okay, so rich modules are available. Cloud integration also is there. Others also there, but Ansible is the leader. And enterprise level also Ansible having Ansible Tower, and for AWS we have AWX is there. So those all the enterprise versions also is available. But Ansible is an open source tool. But if we go for Ansible Tower, AWX, we require the licenses. So those through the GUI also we can control. Okay. And Ansible Galaxy is a repository or registry. So where we have all the built-in roles. It's a community kind of thing. Whatever the roles, collections we want, all those we can download. And Ansible is a push-based model, whereas others are the pull-based. And Ansible is like a open source, but even we have AWX or Ansible Tower we have. Okay. So agentless, YAML, setup is very simple, very powerful modules. Okay, push base, community support is very strong. Okay, so that's making Ansible is the leader in configuration management tools. So Salt Stack also is good tool, but not that much successful like Ansible. Okay, so coming to the prerequisites, on one mission we need to have an Ansible controller. One limitation what we can tell is Ansible controller is not supporting Windows, it supports only Linux itself. Any of the Linux, mostly Red Hat, CentOS, Ubuntu, Fedora, or Mac also is supported, but Windows agent is supported, but Windows controller is not supported because on the Windows level, already one leader is there from the Microsoft, that is SCCM. So that's called as the configuration manager. Okay, so that's the leader to manage the Windows. Mostly we require the Linux level, the automation is required. That's the reason Ansible. And on the controller level, what is required is Python is mandatory. Okay, because most of the modules, everything is developed on top of Python itself. Okay, and we can install Ansible very small installer. And on the remote mission, what is the connectivity is like SSH or WinRM is required. For Windows RM is required and PowerShell also is required. Then like we need SH keys authentication and we need the sudo or privileges we can escalate using become method. Those also we'll discuss. And on the remote mission side, SH or like a WinRM need to be open. SH port is 22 and WinRM port is 5985 and 5986. And for all those missions, if you are using IP address and host names, proper like DNS resolutions, all that it should be available over the controller, over the network. If it is cloud-based over the internet or some networking, it should be available. Otherwise, Ansible can't manage that. Okay, and what is Ansible Tower or Ansible? What is the Ansible as of now we are using is the community edition, but enterprise level Ansible Tower, or we have AWX, which is a GUI base. We can control everything through graphically. We can control. We can give the like a role-based access control, scheduling, reporting. All these at the enterprise level we can manage. Okay, so which is a graphical user version kind of thing. Mostly enterprises, if any Red Hat, my company took more than Red Hat licenses, like 100 licenses like that. They're giving Ansible Tower also at free of cost. In AWS, we can use AWX also. So mostly large scale enterprises where they have 200 servers or 500 servers, they're using AWX. Okay. So then what is Ansible inventory? So that list of missions we need to collect where we need to automate. Say in my company, I have 100 missions. I'm responsible for automation. Then that missions I need to categorize and manually collecting that if it is a challenging AWS, like we can use dynamic inventory also. We'll discuss that. But as of now, those missions we are grouping into the inventory, and we have a lot of advantages by using the inventories. Okay, so then on that missions, we need to automate. We need to make sure we shouldn't miss any single server also. Otherwise, on that we need to do again re-execution of the playbooks or manually we need to perform. So now we can use inventory either in the form of inventory INA format, which is very simple, or YAML we can use, or dynamically also we can collect those. Okay. Say AWS or Azure wise also we can dynamically get those. And what is the default path for the Ansible is etc Ansible. In the etc Ansible, we have mainly two files. One is the host file, that is the inventory file. Then we have one more global configuration file called as ansible.cfg would be there. Okay, and in that we are going to keep ungrouped or grouped, but I recommend to use the groups itself. Say I have 1,000 servers. Among that 800 servers are web servers, 10 servers are DB servers, or 50 servers are message queue servers. Like this, you can differentiate, and one server technically can reside even in the multiple hosts also. And coming to Ansible inventory, we have two types of inventories. We have one is static inventory, and the second one is dynamic inventory. And in this web server is the group name. So here directly we can use the host names only, but even we can use this variables we'll call. Normally in the Terraform we have variables.tf, we are passing the variables, right? Like this here we are passing. Okay, so then DB servers. Then in my playbook, say this is the way of representing even in the YAML format, but we are using INA format. Then dynamic inventory is I created through Terraform 100 missions. I don't know those mission IPs. Okay, at the time of execution, I don't know those mission details. Then what dynamic inventory will do? Then what dynamic inventory will do? Say that 1,000 missions, maybe at 12 o'clock I have initialized. My pipeline finishes them at by 1 o'clock. Then 1 o'clock I need to wake up and I need to update my inventory for Ansible. That is not practically possible. Okay, so then what we can do? Say,
Can we use this
yeah,
dynamic inventory?
Ansible itself will collect those, like we are giving some automation. Okay, and even the cloud provider also is providing. With the Ansible, we are giving the capability to collect those inventory. Okay, so it supports for AWS, Azure, or GCP, Kubernetes. It can do that automation. Okay, so Ansible will use that AWS SDK, and mostly we may have a lot of other servers also, but here tagging will help them in the instance level, and based on the tags it can retrieve. So we have a plugin and pipe, like plugin is there now. Previously, we have a script like ec2.py, ec2.ini kind of scripts. With that, we used to connect to that AWS like SDK, and it's going to retrieve those details. Okay, so this also we'll discuss. So now here the plugin name, what is we are using for the dynamic inventory? AWS underscore EC2 is the plugin name, and region and key roles, like based on the tags we can, because we may have 100 missions, 1000 missions in my EC2 in that region. I don't want all the missions. Then while creating my Terraform, I have given an appropriate tag and role environment. Based on that, I'm filtering. Okay, so then like here we have a lot of advantages by using the dynamic inventory. Also, when we integrated with the pipeline, manually administrator or DevOps engineer no need to update them. So Ansible itself dynamically fetching those by connecting to that cloud SDKs or API tools. Okay, so in the large scale dynamic environment where we have auto scaling kind of things, these will help us. Okay, and anyhow, even in the Terraform also we have some commands, but mostly we'll write the configuration files, and finally we'll go for modules kind of thing. So now here in the Ansible also, we can use the Ansible ad hoc commands, but those are very powerful Ansible ad hoc commands we have. Okay, after that we'll go for playbooks, and finally we have the roles and collections we have. And if you go to the Ansible ad hoc command, so we have the Ansible and we have the host pattern -m module name -a arguments we can pass. Okay, so now here the host pattern is in my inventory. I have given web servers, DB servers as the group I have given, and we have rich modules are available. Ansible having some hundreds or thousands of modules are available. Even we can develop our own custom modules also. Then that module name we need to specify, and what are the additional arguments we want to pass by using -a we are going to pass. We will discuss some ad hoc commands also. Then here Ansible all. What is the meaning of all? Say in the previous inventory, I have two servers in web servers. I have one server in DB server. If I use all the three servers will comes into the picture. I want to do only like here web servers, then Ansible web servers -m ping I'm going to use. Or I want to do Ansible DB servers -m ping I'm going to do. Okay. And if I want to say what is the module name here? What is the module name?
Ping.
Ping. So then I can use normal ping also, right? What is the difference here? Here, if I have in my all servers, if I have 100 servers, it's going to ping it 100 times. If it is manually, what I need to do 100 times, I need to ping those 100 servers. Okay, that means here this is like very powerful tool. And one ad hoc command also is very powerful compared to normal traditional Linux commands. Okay, so then say here I want to execute a command. So this is executing in how many servers in our example?
100
Yeah, if you have in the web servers, you have 100 servers or 1000 servers, that's executing. Otherwise, I need to connect to those 100 missions and I need to perform
times.
100 times I need to execute. That's manually very tough process. But if you use the Ansible,
You can do all in it.
it's a very simple thing. Okay, and we can use df-h also, like maybe disk usage, like this file usage, all that also we can use. Okay, so then what is the module name here?
I think here is uptime.
No, no. What is the
Is
Command.
module name? Command.
command.
So
Yeah,
command is nothing but it's a bash kind of command. We can execute anything on that remote mission. Okay. Otherwise, we need to execute it manually 100 times we need to execute. Okay. Then we want to install a package. Then if you want to install any package, say now we need to like what is the module name here is If it is for the like a Debian kind of flavor, apt is a module. If it is Red Hat kind of flavor, M is the
Yep.
module. Okay, so this M module has been developed by Ansible. In that M module, they have written some hundreds of Python code. We are just calling that module name. Okay, that means that in that M module, there would be 100 lines of Python code. That means like to ping a remote missions, 100 missions is not an easy activity in the Python. Okay, I want to check a command, uptime command on that Python. I need to install a lot of OS libraries. I need to install a lot of Python modules. I need to install, I need to write a lot of Python code. But who is doing here?
Ansible.
Ansible is doing by using that module itself. Okay. So then here we are passing the arguments also like Nginx I want to install. And what is the difference between straight equal to present is like it if not present is going to install. And if I run latest, if I have a older version of HTTPD, it's going to install that.
Latest.
Latest version is going to install that. Okay. Then I can stop the services, restart the services also I can perform. So what is the module name here?
Service.
Service. Okay. So what is the meaning of started is started if the service is not running, then it will start. If already started, then it won't do anything. Okay. But restarted is very dangerous kind of thing because even if the service is starting also it will do.
Stop and start.
Yeah, it will stop and start. That's affects the business. Okay. So hence started is not an issue because if the service is already running, it won't do anything. Even in the present state also, it won't do anything because if that is not installed, then only it will install. If already it's installed, it won't do anything. That is called as idempotency. Okay. But restarted is affecting or not?
Yes.
Yes. In like how to handle that also we'll discuss. Okay, then I want to copy a file to 100 missions. Say whatever here we are, the ad hoc commands we are discussing, like even we can use the Python wise also, but we need to write a lot of code. But here very simple by using the Ansible ad hoc commands, we can manage that. Okay, so then here what is the module we are using? Copy is the module. Okay, and from the source is going to copy to that 100 missions if you have all is used.
What does that become? Hyphen hyphen big.
Yeah, become is like we are using sudo, right?
Mhm.
Say we don't have the permissions for
Permission.
that, then we are going to escalate that using the become method.
Okay.
Okay, we'll discuss become also. Mostly in the AWS also, we are not getting the sudo access, right? We are using Ubuntu, EC2 user. Then we are escalating the permissions by using the become method. Then here we are creating a user also. Like what is the module name here? User is the
User.
module name. Okay. Then file also we can manage. And here very, very important one, it's going to collect all the inventory details. Say suppose you went to a shop, there would be a scanner, right? If they keep that product, it will scan all the details or not. So you go to a supermarket, they'll have a scanner, right? Okay. Say if you have any grocery item, it will scan all the details or not.
Yes.
In the same way, setup is a module. It will collect all the inventory of the remote missions. It will collect the inventory of the
Remote.
remote missions. Okay, if you have the all that, say suppose each and everything of that, say suppose what is the meaning of asset information is that remote mission details all it is extracting. Okay, or that's called as gather the facts. What is the module name here?
Setup.
Setup is the module name. Okay, say to gather the facts, like Ansible will collect all the asset information. Okay, that means Ansible is using like setup module and it's collecting all the details, OS versions, patch levels, disk usage, memory, CPU, like very minute details also it will get it. of that remote mission. For that, we are going to use the setup module. Okay, we are calling that as gathering facts. Gathering facts is that. Then reboot servers we can use even with the command also we can reboot, but here reboot we are going to pass. And we'll check that packages have been installed or not. We are running just a shell module we are using. So there is a slight difference between command and shell also we'll discuss. Okay, so then assume here we are a DevOps engineer and I need to manage 50 web servers. I need to restart Nginx on those missions. Then what is the main advantage of ad hoc command is only for one time if I want to use it. Ad hoc commands are very powerful way to easily to do it. The main drawback is like there is no reusability. For that reusability, and we need a declarative updates where we need to keep all these in our source code, then like we are going to keep them in the YAML level. Okay, so we are going to keep them in the YAML level. We are going to keep the pipeline level. What are the advantages we are getting is we can have an audit over the source code, and we can control even the like we can control over the like pipelines we can manage.
Playbooks and pipelines.
Sorry, playbooks. Okay, in Jenkins we have the pipeline. Here we will call as playbook. So in the playbook also again we are going to use those modules itself as the task. Okay, so then even we have some more ad hoc commands we have. We are going to use M and say here if I keep present, what is that meaning is it's going to like install that package if not present. If become absent, then if the application is there, that package is there, then it's going to uninstall that package. Okay, so can you tell me the difference between present and absent? So
If the package is already available, present will not install.
yeah, if not present, it will install. If you keep
Install.
state equal to absent,
So if
on
it's
that
available, it will uninstall.
uninstall.
Remove.
If I keep latest,
It's going to install the latest
yeah,
package,
if I
even if
have
it
the
is
older version is
older
there,
version.
it will install the latest version. Okay, and even service state also, we can keep like a service is started, stopped, restarted kind of states we can keep. Okay, so enabled is nothing but system CTL level. And here also state if I keep directory is going to create a directory, otherwise it's going to create a file. And if I keep a state equal to absent, it's going to remove that. And even we can give the ch own, ch group kind of permissions also we are giving in the file module itself. And we can create the groups also, users also we can create. That module names are user and groups. And here I'm using shell. Shell is the normal module itself, but I'm performing some arguments, networking related commands I'm running. Okay, so with the shell itself, I'm going to use. And here one more module is there. What is that?
Archive.
Yeah, archive or unarchive also we can do. Okay, so reboot the servers also -m reboot we are going to use. And we can retrieve the log files and I'll explain what is Jinja to template. I'll explain. And what is this meaning of -f is? -f stands for fork. By default, Ansible will use default setting is on the 5 missions it will perform. But I want to execute fastly, then you can increase your parallel execution by using -f10. What is this meaning? Instead of executing 5 missions parallelly, by default the setting is 5, but you can increase that fork time or fork parallel settings by using -f option. Using the -f option, we can increase that. Okay, so then instead of we have a lot of advantages by using the Ansible playbook, but the main challenge is like with ad hoc commands. What is the main challenge is we don't get the reusability. Say when there is no reusability, only one time I want to do that activity and I don't have time to write a playbook. Okay, then I'm going to use the ad hoc commands. Okay, so there is no reusability, only one time I need to perform that activity kind of thing. And the second use case is I don't have time. So suppose Friday evening, my manager said one thing, restart 100 servers. I don't have time to write down a playbook. Okay, and I need to approve that. Then I'll do it through ad hoc command. I'll come on Monday. I'll write a playbook. Okay, but the advantage of the playbook is with the pipeline we can integrate. We'll have an auditing. We'll get the reusability, and we can do the multiple steps. We can have an orchestration, conditions, all that also we can use. So always with the programmatically, if you write, we'll get all these advantages. So now here, this is the YAML script. So the first step, first line starts with the 3 hyphens. We're giving a name. Then host is nothing but the groups. Here you can give the all means all. Then become, we are giving the escalation of the privileges. Then whatever the task you have performed, all those tasks are getting executed. So in the task, we are using those modules. So now here in this task, can you tell me what is the module we have used? What is the module we have used?
What?
APT is the module name. If you are using on the Debian missions, we are using APT. So that is the reason here it is collecting also. That means by default, when the playbook executes, it's going to collect the facts also. It's going to collect those facts also is going to collect. From the facts, we are going to do the automation. Okay. And for that, we are going to use them. Okay. If you don't have the facts, this line, it can't run. That means in my like here I have the web servers, right? Out of 100 missions, assume 60 servers are Debian. Okay, 40 servers are like Red Hat. Then it will try to run those APT itself in those 40 missions also. But now what is happening is based on this condition, on the 60 missions it will use APT, on the 40 missions it is going to use Red Hat. But how it knows whether that mission is Debian or Red Hat is, it is going to gather that facts. It's going to gather that facts it's going to collect. Based on that, it's going to perform those automation. Okay, so this is the playbook. In the playbook also, we are just this is equal to almost 2 or 3 ad hoc commands itself. Okay. Then we can create a user. So module here is user is the module, and we are using a copy kind of module templates. Okay, so we have different and once we write the playbook, assume we have keep that playbook name as install underscore apache.yaml. Then we need to run that ansible hyphen playbook, that playbook name, and we can check the, say suppose here in the Terraform we are using validate, right? So now here we are using system hyphen check, and we can use the dry run also. And out of 100 servers, I don't want to perform in all the missions. Then I can use the limit options. And if you want to pass any values at the command line, normally we'll pass it through hyphen var or hyphen var file. So now here we are going to manage using hyphen e. Those are called as command line arguments using the extra variables. Okay, so like this here we are going to use Ansible hyphen playbook. What is the Ansible command line tool is? Ansible is for the command line execution. Ansible hyphen playbook is to execute the pipelines. Okay, the Ansible is one command line tool. Ansible hyphen playbook is one command line tool. Like this, we have the different command line tools. Those also we'll discuss. Okay. Then go through those I've shared one playlist, right, in the morning. So go through that playlist. Ansible also is the primary skill for any DevOps engineer, not only we will choose the project. In the middle of our job also, we may get some automation task. People will expect to write it through Ansible. If it is you need to do it through Python, it's 10 to 20 times it's more complex. We can do all this automation using the Python also, or Bash or Shell also, PowerShell for Windows also, but we need to write down lot of script. But Ansible is a human readable kind of YAML. We can have a rich modules. We're just reusing those modules itself. Okay. And parallelly, that Terraform Jenkins also finish it. More integrations try to do.
Sir, please share this document, sir.
Sure. I'll share it.
And also, you have said that with the, but we are not using the setup module.
No. By default, if you don't do setup module also, gather facts will come at the pipeline execution.
Okay, sir.
Okay. That means what is the default behavior is, if you don't use the setup module also, the default behavior is going to gather the facts. If we don't want, then gather underscore facts we need to keep as false. Okay.
Sir.
But what is the default behavior in the pipeline? Is going to collect the facts.
It gathers facts.
Okay. If we don't want, we can disable that.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure.